Imagine waking up one morning and all of time has vanished. There are no calendars on your wall, no watches, no clocks, and no mobile phones to check. If your teacher walked in right then and asked, "What day is it today?" how would you answer? Would you have to guess? Would your friends all give different answers? Without knowing the date, you wouldn't know when your birthday is coming. A farmer wouldn't know when to plant seeds for food, and families wouldn't know when to celebrate their favorite festivals. Thousands of years ago, people faced this exact problem. So let's travel back in time to discover how the very first humans measured time without any modern screens. Back then, knowing how to measure time was a matter of survival. Understanding the seasons meant the difference between growing enough food to eat or going hungry. If you were living in that ancient world, your eyes would naturally turn toward the sky. That is exactly where the most reliable rhythm of all was hiding. Every single morning, the sun appeared in the east. It traveled across the sky, and every evening it disappeared in the west. The sun never forgot to rise, and it never took a day off. Ancient people watched this repeating pattern. They realized waiting from one sunrise to the next sunrise meant exactly one day had passed. The sun became a massive, glowing clock. It told people to wake up, do their outdoor work, and rest when it got dark. But here is a challenge for you to think about. Counting one single day is very easy with the sun. But how could you keep track of a whole month without getting confused and losing count? The sun was helpful for organizing daily chores. But to track longer periods of time, ancient people needed to find a different pattern in the sky. That new pattern appeared every single night. Think about the night sky. Have you ever noticed how the moon seems to change its shape from week to week? The moon starts as a tiny, curved crescent, growing bigger until it becomes a bright, full circle. Then it slowly shrinks until it disappears completely. This repeating loop, from one new moon to the next, takes about 29.5 days. Imagine standing outside thousands of years ago. Without writing a single number on paper, you could figure out how many days had passed just by looking at how big or small the moon was. Nature provided two consistent rhythms. The sun gave humans a way to count the days, and the moon gave them a way to track the months. But people still had one big challenge left to solve. Farmers had to know exactly when the long rainy seasons would return, and hunters needed to know when wild animals would migrate for the year. Trying to memorize dozens of different moon shapes in your head for a whole year was too difficult, so people started making physical tools to help them remember, scratching marks onto animal bones and carving lines into pieces of wood. Eventually, civilizations began using tablets like this one. People pressed marks into soft clay to record repeating patterns of time and the dates for upcoming festivals. In other places, people built giant tools. This photograph shows massive stone pillars. On specific days, the sun aligns perfectly through the gaps, marking the start of a new season. And here, you can see a giant carved stone wheel. The symbols you see carved into this wheel form a calendar designed to track the movements of both the sun and the moon at the same time. By watching the sky and using their imagination, humans created physical tools that help them plant crops on time and keep everyone in their community working together. As these ancient groups grew and started interacting with each other, things got a bit confusing. Having hundreds of different calendars that didn't quite match up made it hard for different kingdoms to talk or trade. But here is something amazing. Centuries later, a specific calendar was invented that was so reliable that country after country decided to use it. We went from counting sunrises to carving bones, and finally to creating a system that almost everyone on Earth shares. But who created this reliable calendar we all use today, and why did it become the favorite of almost every country? That is the mystery we will solve in our next adventure.